Hello everyone, welcome back to the Geek Blend. I'm Jeff, and today we're going to be reviewing the latest episode of the Clone Wars Season 7, Episode 11, titled Shattered. The episode picks up right where last week's finished, with Maul in custody on Mandalore, and Ahsoka taking him up to the ship. But before we get that, we get a scene from Revenge of the Sith with Mace Windu, Ki-Adi-Mundi, Yoda, and Aayla Secura. They are sitting at the hologram table, and Mace Windu's like, I sense a plot to destroy the Jedi.
I sense a plot to destroy the Jedi.
And it's that scene, and then it ends exactly where Revenge of the Sith leaves off, and then Ahsoka walks in, and they all talk to Ahsoka. She doesn't tell them that Maul told her that Anakin Skywalker was the key to everything, and he was going to be the one that would destroy the Jedi Order and bring the Force into darkness, because she doesn't believe it. That's why she didn't tell them. In my opinion, still could have been something she should have mentioned, maybe. But probably deep down she didn't believe it, or didn't want to believe it, because it's Anakin Skywalker. It is her master. Before we get more into the episode, I will say I really did like this episode quite a bit. It was actually really well done. Of course, the animation in this week was just as good as last week's. It's just, they're top of their game. The best it's ever been in the show. It'll probably end up being that these last 4 episodes are some of the best in the entire show's history. I still am a fan of the Mortis arc, so I'm not sure how that rates with this one. I'll have to go back and rewatch that. So let's get back to the episode. The Jedi Council addresses Ahsoka as a citizen because that's what she calls herself, and that she says she's not ready to come back to the Jedi Order. She asks the Council if she can speak to General Skywalker, and Mace Windu says that he has been sent to inform the Chancellor that General Grievous has been located on Utapau. Yoda says that General Kenobi has engaged the enemy, talking about General Grievous, and Ahsoka says that means the war could be over soon, but Mace Windu says that depends on the Chancellor. That's when he says, I'm sorry, citizen, these matters are for the Jedi Council only, because she's no longer a Jedi. So everyone leaves the hologram except for Yoda. Yoda asks her if she has something else to say, or maybe a message for Skywalker, and she kind of sits there and thinks for a minute, and she says no. So she ends the hologram with Yoda, and that's the last time she will see anybody from the Jedi Council. Rex says, you didn't tell them what Maul told you about General Skywalker, like I previously mentioned. She just says no, she didn't, and I believe it's because she, deep down, doesn't really believe it. So the next part of the episode is then bringing Maul in this container, this device that is an old relic of Mandalore. It's the only one left, and it houses and holds Force users if there's a problem or if they have to capture one. That's what they use, so Maul doesn't escape, and they take him onto the ship. Ahsoka and Bo-Katan say their goodbyes, and then she gets on the ship, and they head up to the capital ship above Mandalore. We see the view that Maul has from his case or cage, looking at Ahsoka and Rex talking. We don't hear what they're saying, we hear him breathing, but we get his point of view. He closes his eyes, of course, to tap into the Force, and it gets her attention. And then we see them taking Maul off the little ship into the capital ship to put him in the detention center. We see Ahsoka on the bridge of the capital ship with Rex, and they jump into hyperspace, heading back to Coruscant to take Maul to the Jedi Council. She has a conversation with Rex, which will end up being their last conversation before Order 66. She talks about the Jedi being keepers of the peace, but she's been a soldier ever since she can remember as a Padawan because of the Clone Wars. And Rex says that he was bred for only that purpose, and that is all he has known. Of course, Rex says without the war, the clones wouldn't exist. She says then perhaps some good has come from all of it. They salute each other, and another clone commander comes in to talk to Rex. He says, Commander Rex, the latest briefing has come in. So Rex leaves the bridge to go into the other room to get the briefing, leaving Ahsoka on the bridge. The little interaction between Rex and Ahsoka here, them talking about their friendship, was really well done. And of course, it's prior to Order 66. So the next time she does see him will not be under the best circumstances. They come back to the detention center in Maul's cell, and we see his eyes closed. I'm guessing he's deep in Force meditation. All of a sudden, his eyes open wide, and we start to hear lines from Revenge of the Sith. We hear Palpatine say, you must choose Anakin, and Anakin says, don't, I need him. And we cut to Ahsoka, and she's hearing this as well. And we hear Palpatine say unlimited power as he kills Mace Windu. We hear Anakin say, what have I done? And she kind of has like a force migraine or pressure from all what's happening. And she's kind of not sure what she's hearing, but she knows something is definitely wrong. Next, we cut to Rex looking at a hologram, and we see that the hologram is Darth Sidious, and he says, execute Order 66.
Execute Order 66.
Yes, Lord Sidious.
And it is audio from Revenge of the Sith from Ian McDiarmid. It is not the voice of Sam Witwer as the Emperor, which was great to hear. And now we know all hell is about to break loose. The doors fly open. Ahsoka runs behind Rex and says, Rex, Anakin, something's wrong with him. Something's happened. I know something terrible's happened. Rex, hands are shaking. He drops his helmet on the ground and he starts to struggle with what's about to happen. All the clones that are behind Ahsoka now turn around and draw their weapons on her. Rex says, no, I will do it, which makes this part even worse. I really like that we get to see this from the clones' perspective. We'll see more of it throughout the episode, but it gives you another take on Order 66 and another perspective on it. So, before Rex shoots at her, he says, find him. Find him. Find Fives. And then he starts shooting at her. So something in his mind was telling her to go find Fives or what happened to Fives so she will know what's going on with the inhibitor chip. I didn't realize that the first time I watched it, but rewatching it before the review here, I noticed that's exactly what he said. He was giving her information while he was struggling with the decision to shoot her and kill her. So he starts to shoot her and they all start to shoot her. The next scene, she's on top of the platform where the hologram of Sidious came through and all the clones are with Rex are coming in, surrounding her, shooting at her. She's blocking every single blaster bolt. The room's like filling up with smoke and it's playing the music from Revenge of the Sith when Order 66 was executed. And it's really well done, well shot scene. The animation again in this scene is fantastic. One of my favorite animation shots with Ahsoka in the entire series. As the room fills with smoke, she is using her lightsaber to deflect the blaster bolts above her to make a hole in the ceiling. And after the smoke clears, Rex discovers this and she's gone. Really cool scene. And if you go back and I watched it again after seeing it the first time, you can see that she's doing it. Because in the original, viewing of it, I didn't know what was happening. But going back and seeing that, you catch that she's throwing those blaster bolts up to make a hole in the ceiling for her to escape. Rex tells the clones to go to the detention level and execute Maul. We can only assume that's where Ahsoka's heading. We hear Rex tell the rest of the clones, we know Ahsoka Tano is on board. She's been marked for execution by Order 66. So more of Order 66 from their perspective. He says, under this order, any and all Jedi will be executed for treason against the Republic. He also says any soldier that does not comply with the order will also be executed, which is one thing we'd never heard. So we cut to the detention center, and the two ARC troopers are going in to execute Maul. They open it. He's still in his cuffs or whatever inside of it, but the door's open and they're about to shoot him. Ahsoka comes down from the ceiling, gets rid of them, not killing them, just knocking them out. And she puts the lightsaber up to his neck and she says, don't make me regret this. And she releases Maul. Maul thinks it's because they're going to team up. But no, she's only releasing him so he can cause a distraction. She's not teaming up with him, which is something I didn't see coming. I kind of assumed they were just going to team up until she could get out of here. She also asks Maul when she releases him, is this your doing? He said, no, it's not my doing. He starts thinking and laughing. He said, this is brilliant. I wasn't privy to my master's plan. He turned the Jedi's own army against them. We see Ahsoka telling him that the clones turned against her, even Rex. They weren't themselves, and she doesn't know what happened. She says she's not here to team up with him. She needs a diversion. She tells him to go cause chaos because that's what he's good at, and they go their separate ways. Ahsoka goes into where all the R2 units are being housed and all the droids are. The droids are asking her in droid language, and she's like, I don't know why the clones are doing this. She has R7 patch into the system and bring up everything he can on Trooper CT-5555, which we know is Fives, and he's the one who had the inhibitor chip in a previous season that actually malfunctioned. She sees a recording of a Kaminoan talking about CT-555 experiencing a malfunction with his inhibitor chip. She says that the Senate Committee and the Jedi Council have accepted these findings. And the Kamino one also says that there was a grievance report filed by CT. I don't remember the number, but I believe it's Rex. And then there's a hologram of his report and him talking about what happened. Before she actually accesses it, R7 says it's sealed. She tells him to use Anakin's passcode, which is only a 4-digit passcode. The fact that they have everything sealed up with only 4-digit passcodes is kind of ridiculous, but that's one of my gripes with the episode. On the hologram, Rex is saying he knows the report's going to fall on their deaf ears. He's talking about how the inhibitor chip malfunctioned. He's not sure what to believe, but he knows there's probably a deeper purpose that they don't know about yet with the inhibitor chips. I like Ahsoka seeing this information coming from Rex, hearing about the inhibitor chip, and I'm guessing her brain processing what's going on, that the inhibitor chip was put in, and that's what's causing all this to happen. So I think my next scene might be my favorite part of the episode. We see clone troopers down a hallway, looking down at the end of the hallway. At the end of the hallway, other clone troopers are facing down the hallway, shooting at something, and we assume it's Maul. They're all being force pushed and thrown backwards. And then Maul comes around the corner. He's like force pushing them. He's pulling parts off of the walls to deflect the blaster bolts. He's like chopping heads off. You don't see it, but it's implied that he's chopping heads off of clones with these doors and these pieces he's throwing and using to block blaster bolts. It kind of reminded me of the Vader scene in Rogue One a little bit. Not as good, but it did remind me of that. And he also pulled a clone's arm through the door as it closed to cut the arm off of the clone, so he had the actual device on their arm which they communicate with, so he can hear the communications between the clones. Interesting that they put this kind of stuff in this show, being it is more geared towards children. Disney hasn't been doing the dark stuff with Star Wars, so it's interesting and it's nice to see this kind of stuff. But yeah, this scene with Maul in the hallway of him fighting off the clones was fantastic. Again, the animation and the way the movement was in the animation, you can tell some of it was mocap probably, but it was really well done and it just looks fantastic. It's really smooth. All of the droids get Rex trapped in a part of the hallway with all the doors sealed around him, and a projection of Ahsoka comes up to talk to Rex. She tells him that she has seen the report on Fives and that she knows what's happening isn't his fault. She tells him that he's been programmed and that his mind was altered to do this when he was young because of the inhibitor chip. Hologram disappears. He points the blaster at R7 and says, "Where is she?" She appears behind him. Then the droids shock him and knock him out. They take him to the medical bay through all the sealed doors away from the clones so she can get the inhibitor chip out of Rex. They have a medical droid scan Rex's head. They can't find the inhibitor chip, so Ahsoka goes up to him and she puts his hand on his head and she says, "I'm one with the Force is with me. I'm one with the Force is with me." Another gripe I had, it does connect it to Rogue One. That guy was not a Jedi or really a Force user, so the fact that she's saying this kind of doesn't make any sense to me. But I believe the only reason they put it in there is an exposition line to tell the audience who doesn't follow along that she's using the Force to find the inhibitor chip or to activate it, so these scans can see it. But yes, I didn't like that part. It didn't make sense to me. The whole time they're doing this, the clones are trying to get through, and she tells one of the droids, as soon as they get through, you have to reseal the door. So after they find the inhibitor chip, they put Rex in the tube, and I'm guessing the procedure is starting, and the clones are still trying to get through the door. They break through the door. The clones are holding the door while the droids are trying to get the door to be resealed, and Ahsoka is fighting off all the blaster bolts with her lightsaber, but you can start to tell she's getting worn down. She's starting to get worn out because there's too many of them coming through. All of a sudden, blaster shots from behind her, and the door gets resealed after all the clones have been blasted back. We realize Rex is shooting all of them, and he's had the operation, and there's like a bandage or something on his head, so we can tell that it's been done, and the inhibitor chip has been removed. She asks Rex, "Are you okay?" He says yes, he's okay now. He apologized to her for what happened earlier with Order 66 and him trying to kill her, of course. Of course, she asks him, "How widespread is this?" And he says it's every single clone. The entire Grand Army of the Republic. They have been ordered to hunt down and kill all of the Jedi Knights. That's what Order 66 is. They realize that the clones are about to get through the doors, and then the episode ends. So we have one more episode that will be out this Monday, May 4th. May the 4th be with you. They're going to put it out for that. So I will be doing a review for that episode as well when that one drops on Monday. Back to this episode, I really enjoyed it. The animation was fantastic. The only couple gripes I had was with the whole, one with the Force is with me. It didn't make sense. There was no reason that should be connected with this at all. It was just another way for them to tie it in with Rogue One and the Disney Star Wars canon. But overall, I actually absolutely enjoyed this episode. It was, in my opinion, even better than the last episode. I just was anticipating this. I knew the Maul Ahsoka fight would be shorter. It wouldn't be as big of a part of this arc because the whole arc was her going to Maul, getting Maul, and then Order 66 happening and her escaping after Order 66. That's what these 4 episodes were. Now we have one more. I'm really excited for it. I love this episode. If you're a fan of the Clone Wars, you're going to love this episode as well. Of course, I'm disappointed that we didn't get all of the episodes we were supposed to get before the Clone Wars was canceled, and we've only got this short season to wrap up the entire series. So I really am disappointed of that, but for what we're getting, the first arc with the troopers, I did like. The second arc, hated it, absolutely was worthless. This arc has been fantastic and has made up for the past arc. These last 3 episodes have been fantastic. I really enjoyed them, and I can't wait to see the finale. I hope you guys enjoyed this review of the Clone Wars and my little bit of a breakdown. I kind of went through the episode as well to talk about what I liked, what I didn't like. But again, that scene with Maul in the hallway of him taking all those troopers was phenomenal. The scene with Ahsoka as she's originally being shot and tried to be killed by Rex and all the clones, where she's deflecting the blaster bolts up to make the hole in the ceiling, was my favorite scene with the Maul scene. It's like probably head-to-head tied there. And then her getting the inhibitor chip out of Rex, so Rex is now on her side and they need to get the hell out of there. But yeah, fantastic episode. Definitely recommend watching this one. Can't wait for the finale. Hope you guys enjoyed the review. If you wouldn't mind hitting the like button, we do appreciate that. Also hit the subscribe button if you like what you see and you want to see more. And hit the bell for notifications so you can stay up to date on everything we do here on the Geek Blend. I'm Jeff, and remember, if you geek about it, we'll speak about it. See you guys next time. May the Force be with you. Bye.